Yeah.
We got a guest.
What?
Sitting in the seat.
I'm sitting in the hot seat.
You know it.
What's up, Sheetal? We got Sheetal Sheth here.
Sheetal.
No, it's Sheetal. Get it
Sheetal
together.
Sheth. It's a
Shit.
full-on tongue twister.
Shit.
Yes,
Yes, and you can add that shit.
I feel like I have a
It's
list
a
right now.
full-on tongue twister. Yes.
This is horrible.
Here's a bit of trivia. I've known Sheetal for years.
Yes.
Actually.
We met at least 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Through
absolutely.
a mutual friend. Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
fun.
My business partner, Josh Buxbaum.
Yes, who's one of my oldest, bestest friends.
Yeah. Funny
I
guy.
like
I love
him.
him.
When you,
He's a
he couldn't be
goofball.
cuter and fun
Yeah.
and more fun. And when you guys started working together, he's like, "There's this woman, Stamie," and I'm like, "Who's this Stamie?"
Move
And
closer
then
to
I
the
met
mic.
you, and I was loving it.
Oh,
You
there you
girls
go.
are awesome.
So we've been
Very
wanting
cool.
to have you on this because we've been seeing you all over the place, promoting the movies and all that good stuff. And I had no idea what you we were just friends. I didn't know what you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we know a bunch of your movies.
and then
but
I watched your movies.
your history and backstory and where you're from, Jersey.
Jersey, yo.
By the way, yay Jersey!
Dirty Jersey. in the
Jersey
house.
represent.
Just saying, it's nice to have another Jersey girl in
It
here.
is nice.
It's
There's
usually
a
me
very
against-
special thing about Jersey girls, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
there's
don't.
a lot
I
of
think we need
special
to turn
things.
it around because there's so much nonsense, especially lately with the Jersey Shore. Ugh. So
Do you get a lot of people being like, "Are you Jersey Shore or are you Sopranos?" I get that a
yes.
lot,
and
that's
it's
why.
funny because I'm like, and there's nothing in between.
Right.
So it's either Sopranos or Jersey
There's
Shore.
Trenton.
There's
Trenton's in between.
absolutely no other type of person that exists
We
in
are-
New Jersey.
I know. I'm
What
like,
the hell?
I'm Bruce Springsteen. Oh,
Yes, yes,
You know, he might
Yes.
be in between for me. I don't know.
yes.
Whitney Houston.
Yes.
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 We are the Jersey girls of Whitney Houston and Bruce Springsteen type.
There you
Exactly.
go.
like that better.
We're gonna turn this around. I'm just saying. Jersey's gonna get a good rap again.
Good luck with that.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You're too much.
I like that you guys are all plugged in. You have your computers out.
I
You're
know.
looking at things.
Well,
It's
we like to
distracting.
learn under fire.
Stamie likes to wing it.
I wing
I
it.
don't, and or I do at times. So I don't know about for a podcast.
so it's a good
I'm not
combo.
Sure.
Yeah, if I tried to plan everything, I wouldn't have 3 kids. I wouldn't have a career. I wouldn't, if you.
And some would say the opposite.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Stamie
Like
just
for
had a
me,
moment. Look at her.
I'm a planner. I mean, I also will also plan like everything, and then I'm also the first person to just change that in a day and do something completely different because I love just kind of having
An
a random
outline.
adventure.
Right.
But overall, the way my mind thinks is I'm very much about preparation and planning and being, doing my homework.
Right.
That was the people I
That's-
dated.
Pretty
much.
That's how I am, and I used to have to color inside the lines, like if I went outside. I mean, this is representative of a lot of things. And then, in my certain track, I wanted to be a doctor. I went to school. I was a pre-med, and the whole thing. And then one day, I switched and followed my passion, which was film, and realized I have to use this whole other side of my brain and be creative. And it
And all you
blew
had to
my
do was use your
mind.
body, and you would have
So
you
my
would have
body
skipped
to
all
get-
that stuff. I mean, I'm here to
But
help.
I think the combination of the two is good. A
I
little
think you need
planning.
both. I think, and that's why you two work so well
Spontaneity.
together. 'Cause
Wonderfully
you balance
well.
each other out. And I
Yes,
find that too. The people that I'm attracted to aren't. I have no interest in dating someone that's like me.
Right,
What's the
yeah.
point? So I absolutely like
It's
kind
true.
of an opposite.
It's true, and I like it because she tells me. I mean, when to shut up and when to no. But she, you tell me like it is.
you
You
when to
don't
shut
let
up?
thing slide.
Yes.
And there's some maybe that's an East Coast thing.
Well, I
no,
think
I think
that.
it's an older thing too. I'm her older lady there.
Well, yeah, and also think it's also being aware of yourself and being confident in who
Yes.
you are, and also knowing that
Absolutely.
just having. And as a woman, I mean, Tracy and I. Do you love Howard Stern too?
Love.
Okay, I
Howard
didn't know if
Stern.
you. I know that we all, because it's like that type of person. That's
It's-
someone who speaks their mind,
Yeah.
and as a woman, I'm always surprised by people who can't believe I love him, and I'm like, you don't listen to him. You don't
Well,
understand because they
they're
have an
not getting
idea
it.
of who.
They don't know that he's sweet. Like
Yeah, they have no idea that
yeah.
he's actually one of the smartest, sweetest, most sensitive people out there. They only know what they've kind of heard, and they never
Right.
actually heard a whole show. And actually, he's one of the most brilliant people out there.
Well informed, brilliant, well read. I mean, he's
Ugh.
on top of all of it.
and he has
everything.
OCD, which makes him very interesting. And he likes to talk about his butt. And it's,
he's
That's
got
what drives
that's
everything.
when
you
I
in.
change it.
got
He's
everything.
well rounded.
He's
There
very
are a
well-rounded.
few things like and I think he's also at this point he's grown out a lot of stuff, but he's also trying to satisfy pieces of the audience. So he goes and does those stupid things that even I'm like, all right, I'll just come back in a half an hour.
That's
Right.
what I
It's so
do.
not my
Yeah.
thing. But overall, I mean, you don't like everything that anyone does.
Right.
Even yourself.
Yes,
let's be honest.
exactly.
Listen, I
mean,
think America's gonna love. They're gonna start to see it more and more because people are tuning into America's Got
I
Talent.
know. I
too,
started watching
which-
that freaking show.
You
now.
did now,
Yes,
because
I
it's
have
not
to.
I don't watch reality or any of those shows, but I watched it for Howard.
Yes, I
And,
know.
You know, and I'll continue. And I love Sharon
and he's
Osbourne
great,
because she's a really
stands
nice.
out.
Yeah, they're all. I think they all. I was just.
They're good
My
mix.
whole thing about America's Got Talent, also before I even started watching it, is that why are there no American judges? Aren't we supposed to have American judges on America's Got Talent? It's very confusing to me, and so. Finally, we have an American judge.
Good
And
point.
who represents Americana more than Howard Stern, in my opinion? Nobody.
It's a good
kinda
point.
gets it, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he sums it up
you
for
want to be
me.
on his show, is what you're saying?
Well,
Let's make that happen, Tracy.
It is funny because I adore him, and you know,
Should be on it.
I feel like I would love it, but I also know him, and you know, when you listen, and there's always
Oh, yeah.
great guests and bad guests, and I don't know where I'd fit because I'm forthright about some things,
You'd have
but
to
not
wing it.
a lot of things, and so there
yeah.
are so many times where I have actually our friend Josh and a lot of our friends that like Howard, and they always say to me, if you were on the show, how would you handle X, Y, and Z? I'm like, well, we would sit down and we would practice how to
Oh, that is
handle
hysterical.
questions. And Josh always says to me, all right, this is what you do, you know. And
He's like, show me your boobs. And you're like, wait a minute. No, I wouldn't do that on there.
but
Right,
you
I
never
don't know.
know because he gets so much out of everybody.
Because you're on Howard and you're like, I'm on Howard once. I'm
gotta
going to
just-
go
yeah.
all out. And he mentioned Tracy, I think, when we did the real L Word, and she was like flying. Like she was like,
Well,
yeah,
because he
made
didn't
a
know my
reference to-
name.
What'd he
That's
call you?
fine.
What'd
It's
he call you?
fine.
I've had that too where he talks about, because he loves Albert Brooks and I did a
Oh,
movie
right.
with him.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
So he talks about him, and in my head, I'm like, oh, has he seen one of my movies? And it just gets exciting because I'm like, wow, he actually
He knows you exist.
Well, he doesn't really, but he knows in some
In my
way, shape,
mind,
or
I'm
form.
his best friend. I don't know. It's somehow it's gonna happen.
You're his wingman, Tracy.
I'm his wingman. But it's, I mean, you know what I love too? He goes on America's Got Talent and he's got this whole thing, and I'm sure I've missed episodes of him on air, but where he can only be shot from one side, his
know.
good side. You know?
He's hysterical. He's
It makes me-
fantastic.
So if you were on America's Got Talent, his other show now, what would be your talent?
Oh God, I don't think I would be on that. First of all, I wouldn't be on one of those shows. It's so not my type of thing.
Powers in editing,
whatsoever.
too, unless you blow them
Right.
away.
But I mean, it's also, you need the kind of talent that's easily kind of displayable on a stage. And as
Right.
an actor, and what I do, you know, they actually had a reality show called The Starlet. I don't know if you remember this
No,
years
I
ago.
don't know that one.
When American Idol started, basically everyone tried to copy the format and said, let's have a show about the best model, and let's have a show about the best artist, and let's, you know, and you see that now. Everything,
Right.
it's the same idea and then just a different craft.
Right.
And they tried to do that with actresses, where it was The Starlet.
They're
And I
like,
remember
action.
I tuned in, and it's not something that
Doesn't
as an audience you
transform-
can,
I don't- yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
translate. It's not
Yeah.
like singing or dancing or
Right.
something that you
It's
can
not
easily-
immediate gratification too, I guess. There's like the visual aspect of
You need, yes, and it's not like you could certainly put on a theater piece, but even that, it's not. It's an individual thing. What am I going to go on and do a monologue? I mean, like people would just tune out. You know, it's so not. The
I would
kind of
dribble
thing.
my basketball.
You would.
I would just dribble. I'd
You
go up
really-
Would
there
you be like? Were you like a globetrotter type? You could do tricks with your basketball.
my boobs got in the way of me going to that level.
To the-
but yes, I definitely, you know,
your
they get in
other
the way.
basketballs. Oh,
You know,
boy.
they get in the way of tricks. But I'm excited you drove down here.
I know. I drove down to the what do we call this area of town?
what is it?
I don't know. I'm like,
by the
I call it
airport.
LAX. We're like on the runway, basically. I'm not even sure.
This is very close to the airport.
Right?
We
It's
could
look-
just take off.
Possibly.
It's so
Right after
tempting
this, just
lately.
go there.
With this weather here, don't you want to just travel
You have
and be
no
like,
idea. I flew on Saturday. I had to go work up in San Francisco, and every time I'm at the airport, I'm sitting there, and everyone around me is going to really awesome places, and I'm like, if I just end up on the wrong plane, what would happen?
Well,
What's the
I
worst that
often
could
wonder.
happen? You know what? If I just walked on and sat down in a seat that I saw was empty, I could fake it up to a certain point,
yeah,
probably.
you'd have a great story, is what you'd have.
You
And then
would.
you'd be in jail. So
Right,
it, would be,
well-
it would be a wrap up. It would be a beginning, a middle, and an end.
On airplanes only because I don't know why this popped into my head. Maybe I've talked about it before, but what do you feel about people that sit like in your row or maybe right next to you that take off their shoes and socks?
Yeah, I don't enjoy that.
No.
And I will also tell you that I also don't understand if the plane isn't full and there's a middle seat, if there's a seat next to you that's empty, why don't you move over? Why is everyone
Why
all
is-
up in your space when you don't have to be?
Because they follow rules. They try to follow the rules. But you know what I hate is red eyes with morning breath. Everyone who wakes up and you get there.
So
and
like
they're all
you're really close to the person
yeah,
and
I
you can
can't.
smell it.
And now the cabin seems to
Is
get
it me?
smaller and smaller.
I'm like, you mean flights without me, right?
Flights without you, baby. You know, it's like when my kids get. I'd love to see how small the airplanes really get because right now you can
it's
barely
pretty
move.
small. It's pretty, and I will tell you what's funny.
I mean,
about
I fly
that?
first class.
Of
What are
course.
we talking
yeah,
about
no,
here?
of course.
This
Everyone,
is a different
yeah,
subject.
all the time. I actually, when I was flying on Saturday, you know, you have to pay for anything now on a
Oh,
plane. Like
yeah.
if you want extra leg room or if you want a
I think
seat
you have
up
to
at
pay
the
for
side.
the flight attendant to walk over
Yes, you need
to
to
even
pay
roll
for-
her eyes at you.
Exactly. And I got on the plane, and all of the exit row seats that used to be a thing that, you know, bigger, taller people or something that you would want to give them.
Right.
By the way, that you have to pay extra for. I was sitting there, and every single person in all the seats was a flight attendant.
Oh,
And I was
that's
laughing.
funny.
I'm like, wow, look at you guys just being comfortable, and you're not even
Listen.
paying for your flight probably because
Listen.
you have a thing.
Their morale has gone down. I mean, they are. I don't even know. I don't even know why they're even on the plane. Unfortunately for their career, you know. I mean, it's like they're not allowed to do much. They're
I
not
know,
allowed to
it's-
pick and
it's-
help put your bag up top, because that, you know, that's the whole thing. And then they run out of food, so then they have to repeat themselves and then say, "We're out of that."
I know, it must be sucky for them. I actually
Yeah,
feel that now.
yeah. But back in the
Alright.
day, it was hot.
Oh my lord, you're too much. I just
I
like
like
sitting
it.
here and staring at her and watching with her sunglasses on.
I know.
You
Stamie
know what?
Potter
I didn't
just
put makeup on.
sunglasses 'cause she's
I didn't
so
put makeup
cool.
on, and this video will probably work, unlike our the one we had
the first one.
difficulties with. So I just don't want to. And I'm pale, like I glow on the
Stop
monitor.
looking at yourself
But
in
I'm
the monitor. We
glowing,
should
like my
turn that
boobs
off.
are glowing. They're like I'm pale.
I don't have that problem where my boobs overpower anything, so I can't relate in that facility.
My daughter wants little boobs, and we have to fix that.
She told us last night, I want boobs like Tracy and Mommy,
That's the other mom.
the other mom. I was like, oh, you know, you're probably gonna get your mamas. Sorry.
No one wants my boobs.
But let's talk. So
Yes.
you've been in a bunch of movies we've seen, we
Yes.
love. A lot of people. I mean, you have a ton of followers.
I love I Can't Think Straight, by the
I'm
way.
so
It took me
glad.
forever
Yeah.
to see it. When I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I love that movie.
Oh, I'm
Like,
so glad you liked it.
It's a feel good.
It is. It's definitely a feel good, and I think what was
Relatable.
attracted to me was the love, just that
Right.
beautiful. It's based on their real lives.
That's what I just heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know
You
that.
didn't know that?
No,
No,
I
I
didn't know
know.
that until literally before
That
you
wouldn't
walked
tell
in
me
here.
reading.
No, it's very much based on their. I mean, loosely based on their relationship and how they got together and
So cool.
Oh, that's
so forth
great.
and so on. That's why everyone's like, "Where's the sequel?" You know, 'cause
Right.
now they have
Oh.
children.
Oh, how
Well, now
fun.
it's like you answer the fucking phone. That's what it's like in their house.
No, they're great. Shamim and Hanan are lovely women, and when I met them, they approached me about I Can't Think Straight, and I met them. They flew me to London to meet and talk, and I immediately was taken by them. And I thought, yeah, I want to tell their. I mean, by the way, what
It's
an
a great
honor to
story.
have somebody
Yeah.
ask you to be a part of their personal story.
Right, that's
And I think for
huge.
me, I've actually, knock on wood, have had a few filmmakers ask me to be in their movies that are personal, and that's pretty much the best compliment you can get. As an actor.
It is.
It
absolutely
is,
have
and
that
the
kind
fact
of
that
trust.
they can make the movie, you know, because it
Yes.
is difficult to get films made now.
Yeah.
that-
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that they're committed to it and they're putting their heart and soul in it and getting it made, and then it represents what they're trying to do.
So it
which-
stays true to the
Yes,
actual story.
absolutely.
And I think you can feel the heart in it. That's why I think it's resonated so much with so many people.
And the
That's what I
co-star
think I
was
like.
cute. I mean,
Yeah, Lisa Wright, she's hot, right?
Man, we
Lisa
got
Wright.
a lot of questions about her on Twitter. we asked, yeah. Well, we'll go through a few of them in a moment too. But and then the same director did The World Unseen
Yes,
as well.
The World Unseen, actually, the funny thing about that was not funny, but so that Shameen Sarif is a very accomplished novelist. She's a writer. And when I was asked to do I Can't Think Straight and then eventually got the part, because I was playing her, I said to her, I really want to know your writing, get a sense of who you are. And so she gave me her two books at the time, The World Unseen and Despite the Falling Snow. And I read them both. And The World Unseen was the first one I read, and I read it in one sitting. I could not stop. It is a beautiful, amazing, also, it's fiction, but she used to live in South Africa, and so there's a
Wow.
lot of,
Right.
stories that she pulled from her life. And I couldn't put it down. I read it in one whole night, and I loved it. And when they were making that movie and asked me to be part of it, that for me, that's the kind of, because that movie
that
is
was
so-
intense. That
it's
was an intense movie.
it's not
for many reasons.
Yes, it's not a rom-com, it's
Exactly.
not, it's not
Yeah.
a light in terms of like a feel-good I Can't Think Straight, but for me, The World Unseen, it talks about things that needed to be talked about,
Right.
doing a movie, a period piece about the apartheid at that time, playing the role of Amina, which
It's
was
hard
amazing.
to do. It's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, especially like as a producer, when you go in and you're like, so this is my story. It's a period piece. It's this. It's that.
Yeah.
You get
Not a
so
lot of
many,
people that are like, oh yeah, let's make that movie.
You're hit with a wall.
I mean,
of
and you
no's.
can relate to, again, so many parts of that movie. I unfortunately had been cheated on in my last relationship, so when I watched that, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Why do they have to do it? Like it
Right.
was, and for your character's sake, like it was just such a crazy web you were getting yourself into, you know. But again, I like that movie too. So
Yeah,
if you haven't seen her movies, guys, you should really check them out.
I mean, you got a list of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch out there. I mean,
she's a movie star, guys. She's by LAX in our studio. She's a movie star.
I'm here hanging with Stamie and Tracy.
And I'm going to try to sell her a condo after this, and Josh will kill me.
Josh would be like, "Are you kidding me? That would be that."
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Are you imagining about that? Would be
You
crazy.
guys have a tug of war.
That's what I would do.
Ridiculous. So what's? And I'm going to ask you in a second about your producing stuff because that's what I love that side of things, and I think it's
Tracy was a
you're-
creative exec
at
until
Warner's
a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
great.
so it's hard for me to take off my producing it. Like everything, I'm trying to produce everything, basically. My life too, which I'm trying
But
to
you
not
have
do.
that kind of brain. That's I think also someone like us that have that kind of brain and think like that. There's a natural progression to something.
I don't
like
have that kind of brain.
You-
Still
but
trying to figure
I
my
enjoy
brain out.
packaging. I enjoy story. Like what? So what is it? Like why did you decide you want to start producing, go on that side of the camera as well? What
Well, I will
brought you
say,
there?
for me, I've always had that in me, and I've always kind of my brain works that way.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, everything that I've worked on, whether it be theater, film, or TV, I'm not the girl who goes sits in my trailer. I am on set. I am talking to people. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know all their different jobs. I want to know
Right.
how everything runs because I think you're better for it.
Information
And I
junkie.
wanted to. I love telling stories in whatever medium it may be, and so I wanted to learn. I knew I wanted to produce, but I felt like I had a lot to learn on the other side. So every opportunity I got when I was working, I just learned. I just talked to people, and I would shadow people. I was like, just don't mind me. I'm here.
If you give
know?
110% and you can handle that along with acting, I think you've been exposed to so much. You can learn like firsthand.
I've learned a ton. I've had great mentors. I've had great people be really honest with me.
Right.
And so what ended up happening, and then I was working a lot, and there was a lot of movies that I was involved in that I wasn't necessarily 100% in agreement with in terms of their plan and getting them out. And I wasn't
Which is
necessarily
important.
and I felt like, of course, everyone has their own vision and so
That's
forth.
when you don't wing it.
Well, and I think everyone does what they think is best, and certainly I've never done a movie, so who am I to say anything? But I was very frustrated because I felt like there was more for a lot of the movies that I was in terms of where they should have gone.
Right.
And so I felt like I need to shut up and put my money where my mouth is and really feel like with all the experiences that I've had and all the people that I've worked with and know, I feel like I can do this and I feel like I have a grasp on it. And so
I think you can do it. You went to NYU for Christ's sake, and you went to college in New York, and you're from Jersey, and you can take
Most
people out.
importantly.
most importantly,
I mean, it's just believing in yourself, and I think you've had so much experience now that it's built confidence.
well, and I think the biggest test for me was actually doing it. And so a few years ago, actually, I had a TV idea that I've had a bunch of TV ideas for TV shows because I love TV, and I've been on lots of television shows, but I haven't actually done my own series for a number of reasons. And that being said, I had a bunch of ideas, and I actually was randomly at dinner one night with a friend of mine who is the creator of a very successful show, and I started telling him some of my, because he was like, I know you, Sheetal, I know you must have ideas. And I said, I do. And I started telling him, and he was like, those are freaking awesome. And I'm like,
that's
really?
great.
What do you mean? And so he called his friend over at Warner Brothers and said, I want this. And he's like, I'm going to have you go pitch to their execs. And I go, are you crazy? A pitch?
I've never done that.
I was like, okay, all right, fine. I was like, I have to, I need to do so.
Did you give yourself a pep talk? We watched Girls last night. Do you watch Girls at all?
I have not watched it.
You have to watch
not
it.
Yet.
And it's good because now you get a chunk of them in a row, which would be a lot of fun. But she had a date in Michigan, and she gave herself a pep talk in the meeting. In the mirror.
I give myself. I get nervous. The funny thing is, I just prepared myself, and I went through every question that I would ask myself, and I think I'm pretty tough. So I said to myself, what would I want to know? What would I ask myself? What would I do? Be prepared. I had a pitch that I worked out. I wrote out. I had memorized. It helps because I'm a performer, so I know how to go in there and do that. And I also have a brain that actually knows also how to pitch. But I wasn't sure if it would translate.
Right.
But it worked, and they loved it. And we started. It didn't end up getting made, but we developed it, and I had this great relationship with these producers.
But you saw the process.
But I saw the process, and then we actually pitched 2 networks. And being in the room, it was so interesting. My very first network pitch, I was sitting in the exact room in the waiting room where I normally was as an actor when I'd go to test for TV shows, and I was like, how awesome to be on the freaking other side.
Isn't it?
And I loved it. And I sat in there with these execs who knew me as an actress, and I was like, I know they're probably like, oh, here's this actress once again, and they have this idea of who you are. But I won them over, and I loved it, and I loved that I felt like I was good at it. And so now I'm doing movie stuff.
Are you working on what type, like films or
so I have,
drama, comedy,
so yeah, I mean that
anything?
was a TV thing, but then I helped co-produce a film that I was in, Rain, and now I have 2 features that I'm producing and developing with people that I love.
How awesome.
That I just know that this is what I want to do, whether I'm in the movies or not. I always imagine myself, if I have a bunch of kids and I want to be home, what can I, I think I would enjoy this even if I wasn't
I commend
in it.
both of you because the producing thing and the whole entertainment thing and how long everything takes.
It takes
forever.
I really have a hard time.
Well, you have a hard time with patience.
Well, that's why you're also a comic. You're the instant gratification.
Yes,
you need to know right away
if something's working.
Yes.
Like I'm not good with gray. Like we need to move, and I've looked at one place and I found one that I want, and I'm all about getting it done like today.
Right.
Like I don't even want to be bothered with, because it is causing me a lot of anxiety, But
Right.
Again, like all her ideas and what you're doing, I think it's great for people like you.
It takes forever, and you have to have patience, but you also have to be at it. You have to hustle every day. You have to because it's not a job that you go to. People don't have the discipline to necessarily follow through. So if you're not the kind of person that wakes up and forces yourself to write
and
or
how many
work,
people
you're
can
not
do
going
that?
to do it. Because you can go, you're in LA too, so you can get caught up in going to a party or going to the beach or going for a walk. And, for me, I remember one of my teachers in college said to me, you're going to have to be, to make this work, even as an actor, you have to say no. You have to be the one to say, I'm not coming to that party, or, I'm going to be home working.
That's so interesting you say that. That's something I had to learn, and it wasn't until a couple years ago that it clicked, and then I stopped going to everything, which isn't a good thing.
Right.
But I had to pick and choose, because a lot of times it just eats up your time, your energy, your money. You really need to focus and
you have
figure
to be
out.
able to prioritize your stuff.
Right.
And I have, you guys probably have this too, where everyone wants you to come to their stuff, and I'm such a supporter
Yeah.
of
everyone wants me to come. Every single person is like,
So for me now, it's like, okay, I'll go, but I'm not staying for the party. I'm leaving. Like, I'm not going to be out
noticed
all night.
that a lot of we went to the client list like premiere and they leave. Like they come for pictures and they leave, and we
have boundaries
stars.
too. You have to
you want to support, and I'll do what I can, but I can't hang out all night.
Do you use social media to help you? Like I know you're really active on Twitter and
I just
Facebook
recently have started, just this past year, and I hesitated, but I will say I now love it because I actually feel like, because I love talking to people and I love hearing.
Exactly.
That's their instant focus group right there. Like even today we tweeted that
I'm
we were
pulling
doing
it up
this, and
right now.
I know we got to answer some questions.
I know. I'm going to look on Twitter and Facebook.
But I feel like for me, it's a great way to kind of gauge. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, I have the kind of mind that I'm going to do what appeals to me and what I want to do.
But it's nice to talk to like people all over the world, and it's like it's a
beautiful, amazing
cool
thing. Like when you actually imagine the fact that you're talking to people collectively around the world, in Australia, in India, in London, in Peru, in Canada, at the same time.
And I used to use a typewriter and whiteout. I've made a lot of friends, that
Me too.
over it,
Me
and
too.
it's like everyone's a person, and I welcome anyone who's cool and
Oh my God, I've met people through Twitter and Facebook that are in my life now.
Yeah, me too.
Because
Rosie.
Absolutely.
Dawn.
What's up, Rosie?
No, it's true.
Denise.
It is a really great community, and I do my own.
Yeah.
I tweet my own stuff. I write back to everybody. I try my best to kind of.
It is a job though. Like sometimes I get overwhelmed and I'm like, I can't be funny right now. I'm selling houses, and then I feel guilt, and I'm like, I need to be, because I don't want to tweet something.
But you just
want
to be. I think you just got to be yourself.
Yeah,
Because I think at the end of the day, that's what people want. So if you're not funny, you're not funny.
And if you're cranky, I like to see that on Twitter.
Exactly.
Because I enjoy it so much
more. I see
more.
the real you. So I'm gonna pick at random because there are really so many. Which
Real
is really
quick,
cool.
Facebook. Do your Mark Zuckerberg thing you wanted to ask about his getting married and his status on Facebook.
Well, let me grab this real quick and then we'll go to that.
How dare you? I'm the top.
How
dare you?
It's the only place I could squash her. Which character role? This is from Francine Balbina on Twitter. Which character role were you most proud to act in and biggest achievement? Which one did you feel, I guess?
Well, I think I kind of answered it in that I am really proud of the fact that a lot of people ask me to do autobiographical stuff.
Right.
So
Will
those
you do
for
my
me
movie?
are really, there you go. I could play Stamie, right?
Yeah.
How funny. We'll just, I'm not even going to go there. I was just going to go in a bad place.
Oh, Lord.
And since a lot of people have asked this, and we'll just touch upon it, I know you've talked about this before in the past, but Losh is one of them. There's a few. How is it to work with Lisa Ray?
She's cool. I mean, I will tell you that.
Does she smell nice?
She smells nice.
That's
She's a
what I
pretty girl. I feel like I've had a great relationship with almost all of my co-stars, and I will say that they're just. You want to be in an environment where everyone's supportive of each other doing their
And
best.
it's all women, so you find it sometimes when it's all
Well,
a lot of
in
women
the-
and a
yes.
lot of women.
Right. And I don't only work with women.
No, I understand
Yes.
that.
But I have worked with a lot of women.
When you're on
yes.
a set with more women, are they more drama? Are they supportive? Or
It can be both.
yeah,
It can be both.
we're dangerous creatures.
I will
women.
say it can go either way, and I've
We're
had
so
them both.
complicated.
I've had both. Some go, and the same person can be both.
Yeah.
So it just depends. We're all very
On the
complicated.
time
we're
of the, on the
imperfect.
time of the month. No, I'm kidding.
That Tracy still doesn't know her cycle. But go on.
I don't. It's whatever. I don't. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh crap, I'm PMSing right now after I chop Stamie's head off. Like yeah, that's a whole.
Well,
other
if
thing.
there was a mainstream movie, what would you want to do? Like, what type of film would you want to do?
You know, I've done. I will say I'm,
now and where
right
you're at.
now. I will say I'm really. I did a movie a few years ago called First Fear, which was this kind of action thriller with Sean Patrick Flannery and Shannon Elizabeth
great
that will
actor.
probably never be released. It really bums me out because they just had production issues. And that was kind of I've always loved action. I'm a really athletic person
Right.
and I grew up playing sports and that was the first movie I
You
was
like
able to do
extreme
that in.
sports
Yeah.
too. Don't
Yes,
you?
and in that movie, I did fights, I had stunts, I did wire work, I had awesome stuff, and I'm so bummed that movie will probably never see the light of day because that for me would be kind of where I would love to do more
okay.
of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm happy for
Sophie,
you.
our producer, wants to know: did you play poker with Shannon?
You know what's so funny is Shannon played poker all the time online because she does that online. When we were on set, there was really no place to do it, but she would go home and she would tell us how she had to get her fix and she would be playing poker constantly. Yeah, she's a huge poker fan. Who knew? I didn't know that until I worked with her.
And Kat Kersan, I'm gonna because this is a few questions too. Somebody wants to hear your British accent.
What would you like me to say?
Oh my God,
Oh.
that's like a panty dropper. I'm just saying.
Again, with the accent.
I had a British accent
do
and
you-
I can't think straight, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So they're like, somebody said, can she do her entire interview with a British accent?
You know what's funny is I've actually done a bunch of different accents in different movies, and one person once I did an interview, and they were like, "Go!" and they would ask me a question. They go, "British, Indian,
Oh,
Middle
that's
Eastern," whatever. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going crazy!" And then all of a sudden it morphs into some crazy thing that doesn't sound like anything.
That's
right?
all.
like an
We should do that
avatar.
here, babe.
Because
We
you
should
end
do
up
that.
sounding
should.
like a crazy person.
That's funny.
What are
if
your-
you ever did? By the way, I don't know why I picture you doing this. You need to be in like the Avengers. I feel like you should be the next.
I wouldn't say no to that.
superhero. The first Indian American superhero.
I would say I would absolutely have no problem with that.
Boom. We're gonna produce that.
There you go.
somehow.
There you go. You guys, you
There you
have a
go.
whole thing. What are your five favorite things you like to do in LA? Like places to go?
Places to go.
Because we're all creatures of habit here,
Yeah.
and we've you know.
I mean, in terms of my daily rituals, I will say I live in an area where I can walk a lot, and being a New Yorker, I chose that. And so,
Love
in
that.
terms of like, I go to the gym all the time. So being able to walk to the gym and then getting my favorite smoothie and then going to run errands
the
where
simple
there's
things,
a Trader Joe's right under my, everything is within walking distance for me, and that's awesome. So the daily stuff I will walk to.
Favorite coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
Lame-o. All right.
drink hot
favorite
chocolate.
restaurant?
God, I have a
I don't
hard
eat
time-
food.
Favorite
See, I
Italian.
have issues with commitment, so asking me my favorite anything is very difficult.
Oh, you have commitment issues?
I can't say things like
So
my
do I.
favorite
That's probably
anything.
why I didn't like become domestic partners with my ex and have 3 kids because I still felt a little free
I need
having
to
them
have.
and
I need to not to say I can say top number like 4 or 5.
Okay.
But 1 is very hard for me. I mean, obviously, I've had relationships, and in
love
that
it.
sense, I do it. But I am not good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we all have problems. Everyone who lives in LA has issues,
The
and
the biggest
one day
commitment
we're
I've
gonna
had
get
in my
to it.
life is my tattoo, and I've wanted a tattoo for a very long time. When it took me about 5 years to actually figure out what I wanted, and when I got it, I was actually almost hyperventilating before I got it. All of my best friends with me, we went for my birthday a few years ago to Vegas for the weekend. I had it all planned out, and my best friend since I was 9 was there, and I was like, "This is forever, right? This is forever." And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like,
Your
"Oh my
first
God."
forever.
That's it. What did you
If that was
get?
any indication of my commitment issues, then there you go. It's on my ankle, and it's an old,
butterfly.
old tribal lotus.
Nice. I like
Yes,
it.
that I designed with things like that.
When I was young, I wanted to get forever young, and I'm so happy
Oh,
I
I'm
didn't
so
get.
glad you-
I'm so happy I didn't do
That's
that.
a good kind of, let's wait till I'm older and see how I feel.
Yeah,
So.
forever young, like
These
a
are the
tramp
things
stamp.
we need to write down so the kids, when they come up with an idea, we're like, you know,
Right.
when I was young,
Yes,
not
yeah.
that they're gonna listen anyway,
not to
but
do it. What do you think about So Facebook. So Mark Zuckerberg married his longtime love,
good for him.
which is really cool. But he so he changed his relationship status to married. Do you do that on Facebook?
No.
I don't. I don't partake.
I don't.
Do you do that?
I
Yours?
do.
Yeah. What's on yours?
What did I
Yours says
say?
single. You know it. Actually.
See, that's the problem with these things. If two people don't have the same thing that are together, oh my goodness. No, I don't. I actually, I mean, obviously I have a Facebook fan page, and I have a personal page, but I personally don't use it. I use it so I can just see what my friends are up to.
Well,
So I just
personal
have it
pages-
just to see. Just because I like my friends post
stalking.
things.
That
You're a
is
creeper.
Facebook. Yeah.
Well, my actual friends, but
You're
I
a
want to
voyeur.
know. Yes,
No, I'm
well,
just
there you
kidding.
go. No, because I just don't. It's not for me my method of communication with friends.
Right.
I
But I do
love
like
pictures.
to see.
I really
yeah.
love.
So
I
in
love,
that sense, I will see my friends' stuff and then I'll call
But
them.
on my private page, it's so funny because people hardly ever respond, and my friend and I were. He's like, yeah, my friends don't ever like respond, and we're like, he's like 44, and we're and it's like you're waiting to just
like high school.
communicate. Yeah,
It's
it
high school
is.
all over again.
And
You
it brings
need
up
that.
all these emotions of high school.
She gets upset when people don't like her picture. She's like, I don't understand.
No. See, now this is the stuff Tracy makes up. That is not true. Everyone likes my pictures.
Listen, I'm showing people behind the curtain.
You are not.
This is a little bit of everything.
I don't get upset.
Why
about
would
my
someone
pictures.
not love your picture?
Hello to
I mean,
my
come on.
kids.
Especially if you show your boobs, right? Because your boobs are out. So.
No, they're.
I banned her from doing that. No more.
No,
no more.
yeah, they stay tucked in.
Do you guys do intimate stuff together? Do you put those kind of pictures, like
Oh,
moments?
I'm not a mushy kind of love
Okay.
person. Like, I feel like I feel like I'm violating my relationship when I talk about how great or love and all that stuff. Like, I like to keep
It's kind
that
of understood.
private.
Yeah,
but I'll
that's for
release a
us.
sex tape.
But yeah, if I produce
I'll be
it,
in the
it's fine.
dark.
Okay,
You can
all right.
produce it. But yeah, I'm not one of the. I mean, there are people that love, but when you've been in a handful of relationships, you're kind of like, I just want to keep this one safe a little bit.
No, I think that's for me. I actually never talk about people I've dated.
Yeah.
I mean, other people talk about it, and I know that there's things out there that people talk about, but I've never commented. I've never.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I feel
Relationships
like. They
are
also haven't asked to
complicated.
be a part. Some people, obviously, they're in the industry, so they get it. But I've also dated people not in the industry, and they certainly haven't asked for it. you know,
Right.
Right.
and I
It's a
don't
lot
need to-
sexier, I think, when you kind of. It's just you got to hold on to something.
Yeah.
And you're putting yourself out there so much, even on these social
And Mark's
media
looking at all these pictures every night with his
Yeah, do
new
you
wife.
think Mark?
Mark owns these
He
pictures.
owns all our pictures.
Exactly. Freaking Mark.
That guy.
Last thing, real quick, tell her about the group that drops out of college. I
Which?
didn't listen to the whole story.
Oh yeah, okay. So there was a thing on CBS News, and it's dropping out. Is college worth the cost? Was the title of it? And this billionaire pays students to drop out of college. And I know you are all about learning and
I
just
am.
being an information junkie and getting that higher education. So what do you think about that? So they're basically promising these young kids or students, I think it's $100,000 to drop out of college to become entrepreneurs.
With their idea, right?
With
that
their
they
idea,
have.
like to take that and try to run with that. They're saying you don't really need college.
Right. Well, I would say I'm a big fan of college. I think the biggest problem is why is college so expensive? And I hate the fact that we've gotten to a place where people have to actually make that choice, because I feel like, someone like Mark Zuckerberg is a great example. He was an entrepreneur at college. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do what you want to do while you're also having a higher education. I think that the reason why America is falling behind is because people aren't valuing education anymore.
Right.
And being from India and seeing what they do, there's a billion of us over there.
Right.
And only growing. And China, the reason why they're doing so well is because of their education system. I will tell you, when I go there and I spend time with my cousins, even when I was a child, what they were studying in high school was far more than what I was studying in high school. So the level of priority it is in their life is important.
That's why
And
they all
so-
speak other languages.
They
and
all speak.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Right.
it's proven that the more languages you learn, the more you're able to learn other things. I mean, the way your brain works, the chemistry as a young age is so important. And so I think for me is, obviously, if you have an opportunity, you do what you got to do. But the bigger question is, why can't you afford college? Why are colleges becoming
You're
what they
absolutely
are?
right,
And
'cause
you should be
even
able to do both.
Living in LA, when you do
Yeah.
have children, you're going to realize how expensive
Ugh.
the schools are. And I
It's
just met
ridiculous.
someone when her daughter went to the school. And 9 years ago, it was $23,000 for high school. That same
Which in
school
itself-
is $35,000.
Which in itself, the fact that there's
It's
such a
pathetic.
disparity between public and private education, and that unless you're only a certain class and able to afford your children to go to private school, that for some all these other people, the fact that public schools aren't at the level that they should be and that they can't be competitive is the problem, because the majority of people are going to public school. So you're telling me that the majority of our culture is going to be left behind in some way if they don't have the privilege or the opportunities that people with money or access do. And that's the bigger issue.
Right. No, it's true. It's crazy that we have to start thinking about this now. Like literally when you give birth to a kid. Like now. I know. So we have to wrap it up in a second, but we want to do a giveaway. We haven't done this yet, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I brought a couple things.
Did you?
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay. So how should we do this?
Maybe if it's retweets on Twitter or something
That's a good
of our podcast.
Yeah.
Just to get.
So I brought an I Can't Think Straight and The World Unseen. Maybe we'll take pictures of it and you guys, we can tweet them so people can see what they are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there are these really cool movie books that kind of, thank you so much. Someone's actually, I'm going to show it to you
flying
guys.
in.
I don't know if you guys can see
Flying
them.
in.
So you can see they're like these.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, sure. The
can hold
original
it up
press.
because
Yeah,
we
they're
have
original. They're like little pieces of.
Can you guys zoom in on this?
You guys
Is there a way to do that?
And I'll sign them.
Awesome.
And we can give them away to however you guys
No,
want
I'm
to
going to keep this one, I think.
Oh, stop it, Stamie.
And they're really fun. There's great pictures. There's great pieces of the movie. There's little pieces. And this is only stuff that was available when the movie was coming out. So they're no longer available.
Right. And I think for so many people around the world, these movies have made such a large difference.
so.
So I think any piece of memento
I know it's a piece of memorabilia, and I'll sign them. And I thought that our audiences would like that.
I hope you kept that hat.
I do have the hat.
You do?
I actually said I keep something from every movie I've done. And when I did The World Unseen, I said to Shamim and Hanan, I said, I really keep something from everything, and for me, the hat would be it.
Oh, it was
and it wasn't something that was able to be kept, and then as a surprise, they gave it to me. They found out a way to get it, and they gave it to me, and I'm very grateful for it. So I have the hat, and it's something that I love.
That's awesome.
Well, I would like to invite you back.
Absolutely.
I'm jumping
Thanks.
that, and we'll figure out how. But the contest, how are we doing it?
So I think what we'll do, because we'll do it differently next time. But so we are on iTunes, and everybody can download this podcast on iTunes. So go there, and basically, I think the first 3 people that write a review for this will get these. They'll get the 2 pieces from Sheetal, and also we'll throw in an I Choose Me shirt. So it'll be at random, but write a review. We'd love to hear what you think, who you loved on.
And then you write a review and what?
That's it.
Don't make it too long. I won't read it.
Stamie lives her life in 140 characters.
Yeah, I do.
That's why Twitter's so great for you.
Right.
I'm like, I can't fit it in.
Me too. And then I get frustrated.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you for
coming.
having me.
It was a real treat. And we'll put all the information on our bio page on Libsyn. It's
on Libsyn.
Libsyn,
So, and then you can get everything on OurFifteenMinutes.com. And Sheetal, why don't you give everybody all your contact info?
Oh, yes. I have a website, SheetalSheth.com, and then I tweet at Sheetal Sheth.